Hello. So today, the topic I'm going to be talking about is retroactive cuckoldry and why I can't respect it. And as far as respect goes, I've learned over the years that I don't choose to respect someone or not. There are even times when I wish I had that choice. But what happens is through someone's actions, I either start respecting them more, or start respecting them less. And certain things can make me lose respect for them. And even people that I have really liked or wanted the best for, or grown up with, etc., etc. So retroactive cuckoldry. So first of all, what's cuckoldry? What's a cuck, So actually, cuck has a whole bunch of different meanings, and you can look them up on the internet, and I'm thinking probably most people that would be watching this video probably heard them and know what I'm talking about already, some of them at least. But, in the context that I'll be using it here, a cuckold would be someone who their wife is unfaithful to them. They could either be someone their wife is unfaithful to them and they know about it, or someone that couldn't be just be wife, or their girlfriend is unfaithful and they know about it and they still stay with her because they're afraid to leave, right? Or they can't, they won't leave because they're too weak. Or they are raising the children that they did not sire as the father, doing all the work of the father but receiving no benefits, right? So a cuck would be, like if a woman got pregnant as she was having an affair, and the man that raised the kids was her husband, who she was living with, who she wasn't even having sex with, and he raised the kids like their own. That's a classic cuck, right? So retroactive cuckoldry is a little bit different. This is when a man basically lowers himself to the status of a cuck, lowers himself voluntarily. And part of the, there's a few different reasons. There's, I guess, probably several reasons why I don't respect it, but it's if you understand human nature and understand how we lived in the past, understand alpha and beta behavior. In the past you had, back in the really old days, right, when we were hunter-gatherers, right, you had men that were alphas that were having many kids, having sex with the, best of the clan, right, of the tribe, and that were going out to war, and that were leaders in their group, and had, all the alpha traits. You had betas that would be, staying there doing some basket weaving or some sort of other lower respectable work that may be raising some of the children that they did not father, and maybe getting the, sloppy seconds, sloppy thirds, sloppy fourths, and raising the other children of the alphas, right? And so when a man decides to become a cuck, decides that he is going to voluntarily do this, to me it's like if we were all holding some cards, right? And he played his hand, and his hand turned out to be basically shit. It's almost like, also, like if you've ever known a guy or seen a guy or seen a movie where a guy acted like he could kick everybody's ass and he was all big and bad and saying all this stuff. And then when it was time to fight, he just went and pissed in his pants and got his ass kicked. It's to me the same kind of thing. When a man does it, I know now that you may have postured as if you were an alpha. You may have postured as if you were, would have been a warrior, a hunter, a leader. But you've played your hand and you've shown the whole world that you're a fucking beta and that you're a fucking cuck. And so that's why I say I don't have the choice to respect them. I have no other choice not to respect them because they've showed me who they are. They showed me what they are. We know intuitively that alphas do not raise other men's kids. Some of the stereotypical alphas like in cinema, in the old days, can you picture James Bond doing that? Or Clint Eastwood or whoever you may think of from, an old movie as being, alpha? Doing that. No, you can't. And the sad thing is, this happens to guys I know that they're great guys. Like, they're good guys. And that's the thing that's so fucked up, is that they weren't bad guys. They were too good. They're definitely too good for the women that they cucked for. But they're betas. They are betas. And they've played their hand and they've shown the world they're betas. One guy I'm thinking about, he was a great guy. Such a nice, good guy. And we used to go out to clubs and talk to girls, and he was never really that good with girls, but he was a really cool guy. And he was hitting about 30, I think. Came from a pretty conservative background, so I know it was, drilled into him, get married, have a family, get married, have a family. This is what you do while you're not doing it, blah, blah, blah. And I remember when this girl came up to him, who had 2 different kids already, and their father was a tweaker drug addict that was in and out of prison, and a gangbanger, I think, also. And she had his ass wrapped around her fucking finger so quick. It was like 1 month he was single, the next minute it was together forever shit on his Instagram and in a relationship. And so she had a kind of shitty job and she had a kind of shitty family, and she definitely had a shitty background. And I am sure, damn right, that when she was younger, she was getting banged by all these alphas that were in and out of prison. And I think she liked the kind of bad boy type, right? And she saw him. And by the way, my friend had a good, steady job and was a really nice guy, had good values, and wasn't doing too well with the ladies. Despite the fact that after he got with her, he had some sort of a attitude as if he did. I don't know if you guys have seen that before. It's like, bro, we knew you. And so yeah, within a month, they were very serious. And then, like clockwork, 3-4 months later, she had an announcement. She's pregnant. Got him, got him. And now he is taking care of all 3 of these kids. One, which is only his kid. The other were a little bit older, by the way. One was almost a teenager. She has sole custody, so the other guy's not in the picture at all anymore. He's the only one working. He works full-time. She quit her job because he wanted her to stay at home, and she had a job that was dangerous, and he didn't want her doing that. It's interesting the way manipulation works, that you can actually make someone think that they're the one that wants something, And women can do that very well. And not to top it all off, they're living with his parents. So this guy went from a guy that was 30 years old, great guy, nice guy, someone I really liked, and to, he's like 33, 34 now. And he's with a woman. By the way, she's older than him. By the way, she's gained all kinds of weight. And he's taking care of two kids that are not his, spending all kinds of money on all their birthday parties and stuff. And he's done. He is fucking done. Put a fork in him. You know what I mean? The dude is done. He could walk away. Oh yeah, he could walk away and get hit for child support for all three. Two that aren't even his. And I know she's seen it. It was all plot. Alpha fucks, beta bucks. And he cucked, and he fucking cucked hard. And he's fucking done. And that is sad, and it's like my heart just sinks. But I know I don't see him the same way anymore, bro. I don't want to really hang out with him because he cucked. He played his card. And it's sad. So that's what retroactive cuckoldry is. It's becoming more and more accepted. It's becoming more and more commonplace. It is not something I respect. It is not something I want to see. It's something that just tears me up every time a guy normalizes it. Another friend of mine, this was a guy that he just really wanted to have a family, and he was in his 30s, and so yeah, he wanted to have a family. So he got with this girl who was again about 30 years old, and she had, I think, a 7 or 8 year old daughter who had never known her father. And this girl had all kinds of emotional problems and supposedly was bipolar or something at 8 years old. And within a month, he was calling her his daughter. Like, he just took that hook, line, and sinker. He cucked hard. And then, of course, she got pregnant. And so now, he is trapped, because if he walks away, obviously he's hit up for child support, and possibly for both, even the girl that is not his daughter. And neither of these guys have gone through the teenage stages where these kids may decide that they hate your ass and that you're not the dad, even after you've paid for every birthday and everything. You're doing all the work, but they're not your kids. And it's a total beta move, And by the way, both of these girls that did this to both of these guys that were both good guys, too good. They were too good, in my opinion, too nice. They were both in their late 20s, Neither of my friends got them in their prime. Like, they did not have that pussy when it was at its best, right? Neither of them got them in their prime. And they knew the clock was ticking. Not in the sense of how we talk about this biological clock bullshit, but more in the sense of they knew that even in their late 20s and 30s that guys were not looking at them like they once used to. They could not walk into a bar and hold the same power and sway over men that they once used to. And they knew that these younger girls in their early 20s were competition that they could not compete with, right? They also knew that these guys that they had liked to run around and get boned down with that were very alpha, but also very, I guess, irresponsible and undependable, we're not going to step up and marry them. So they found a beta provider, And that's the thing that both of my friends chose. Well, I think they were inherently beta that just came out when they played that card of a cuck and basically showed the whole world that they were a beta. But they were providers, and they both had stable jobs. And they both stepped up to do it, right? So that's the thing. I don't really hang out with either of these guys very much anymore either. And, also their wives have control over them. They're not allowed to go off with me places. Their wives always want to be hanging out with us, and it gets old. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to really hang out with my friends' wives. So they are going to have to hang out with other beta cucks, maybe drink beer in a garage somewhere, and talk about their man cave, right? While I'm traveling around, boning young chicks and seeing the sights of the world and experiencing new cultures and having adventures, right? So, like I said, I don't choose who I respect. It's not a choice. Behavior shows me, when someone doesn't have integrity, that'll lower it, obviously. When someone has like serious character flaws, like there's someone that will take advantage of someone, someone that the type of people where if they hit you up for a favor and you help them out, instead of responding with gratitude, genuine gratitude, their response is to think and do, how much more can I get out of this guy? If he did that for me, I wonder what else he'll do. People with those character flaws, but also people who are not, guys that are not alpha, and that, do you want a beta with you in the foxhole? Would you want a beta with you in the foxhole? I don't, and I just lose respect for them as a man. As a man, I lose respect because what you did was not manly, right? So that's all I got to say on that. I'll just say the social acceptance of retroactive cuckoldry is something you see pervasive. And these guys, talk about it as if it's a norm and as if it's respectable. It's right. Stepped up to the plate, right? Stepped up to the plate. It's like, I'm not the stepdad. I'm the dad that stepped up. Well, what you did is fulfill the role of a beta provider for a girl that is vastly losing her sexual market value and is soon to be hitting the wall. And she played you like a flute. And you cucked hard. You played your card, that of a cuck bitch. And it's sad. But you lose respect for me as a man. It's the same thing as if you were talking about you're going to kick everybody's ass and then you just fucking wet yourself and get knocked the fuck out. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. To me, it's the same thing. So it's like if we were in prehistoric times, you'd be hanging out with the chicks basket weaving while the rest of us men went out to go, hunt dinner. And I see you different, And sometimes I wish I didn't, because both of these guys, they're not bad guys. They're good guys. They're too good. They're too nice. They've been conditioned too much. So that's all I got to say about this. This is the first of videos I'm going to be putting out also on this channel. I don't want this channel to be purely a MGTOW channel because there's other stuff I want to cover too. I want this channel, number one, to be to help men, especially younger men. And but I am a MGTOW and I am a red pillar, and I will produce that kind of content. And hopefully it stays up on YouTube, right? If not, I am working on BitChute too, but I put one video up there. It took like a day to load, and it's just that platform needs a lot of work. But, as more and more people are getting pushed off of YouTube, providers or content creators that I used to watch are not there anymore. That is maybe where we need to end up. So anyway, I appreciate all comments and I appreciate all views. So leave a comment If you agree, disagree, agree with something, agree with one thing but not everything, let me know. Thank you.